Well, as defined by the Wisconsin Coalition for Person-Directed Care, person-directed care is an ongoing interactive process between residents, caregivers, and resident representatives that honor the residents' dignity and choices in directing their daily life. Basically, it's giving the decision-making of what happens in somebody's life, making sure it stays with them. Just because they walk through the door of our nursing home and now live here, doesn't mean we call the shots. Doesn't mean they adapt to us. We need to adapt to them, because it's important that people have decision-making over their own daily life. So person-directed care is making sure that we give them back that power of directing their own life. Well, the benefits are, number one, you have a much happier, we call them villagers here at Brewster Village, you have a much happier villager because they are able to make their own decisions. And which makes for happier families and employees. It makes the facility, or what we would rather call a community, feel like that, because people are still living their lives the way they would. It's just that now it's a little bit more, unfortunately, confined for them, but they still are part of a greater community outside of here, plus the community that we build in here, and it also builds relationships between staff and villagers, and the villagers develop relationships with each other here as well, because they feel empowered, because nothing's changed for them other than maybe where they're living. They still have that ability to direct their lives. Well, one of the things that people have to keep in mind when you get into doing person-directed care is that it's basically a change for the nursing home system or industry. And that it was based originally upon a medical model, so now you're going to a social model. So it takes changing your whole culture, and that's why you'll hear another word for sometimes person-directed care you hear out there is culture change. But what that really refers to is what you have to do in order to practice the person-directed care, of giving them back that power of making those daily decisions. What that means is you as a facility or a community has to change your mindset, because actually culture change is an attitude, which is how you feel about something. So we feel that the power of their daily lives belongs to them, so we have to change our mindset to adapt to that. So it's them directing it, not us, based upon when our meals come out, when we want people to get up, our schedules adapt to theirs. So that's how ways you do that. We do that here at Brewster Village. Brewster Village has also trained our staff in what they call Person First, which all the principles are based of Person First training are based around culture change and focusing on providing person-directed care. So all of our staff is trained. And it really helps us get into things like community circles, where we use those to get to learn more about villagers, how they feel about things. They get to learn more about us. Like I always like to say is when you get down to what is really culture change or person-directed care, as well as it's all about those relationships that we form. And that's because we get to know each other, and we get to know each other what their preferences are, and we interact now as a community. So I can tell you from a personal experience that my father happens to live here at Brewster Village. And he has dementia, and it's getting fairly advanced. There are some days he really doesn't know who I am. Generally, he knows that I'm family, and so that's how he usually starts out a lot of his things. How's the family? And the other night when I was talking to him, I said, well, my family's fine. And he was telling me, he said, I really enjoy being here. He says, because and he pointed around to his little house, and he said, I feel like we're family here. When I heard him say that, I thought, we're doing something right, because that's exactly the feeling we want him to have, is that he's in a home and he's got family here, and he's still living his life the way he wants it to be. So I think that kind of encapsulates it, of what, that you finally get it when somebody can tell you that that's the feeling they've got. So that's how we do person-directed care here.